So let me start by welcoming everybody to our parent information night for our upcoming kindergarten students. We have a lot of information to share with you. We have an amazing collection of professionals here to share really important information and to help you gain a sense of what your students' kindergarten experience will look like. But I think we'd like to start by introducing ourselves. Megan, if you want to switch to the next slide. So first, let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Russell Marino. I am the principal at Danville Elementary School. This is my first year working with our amazing staff here in Danville. And this is my first kindergarten parent information night here in Danville. I have been a principal for about 12 years now, predominantly in Massachusetts. I began my career as a teacher at the high school level. I navigated to Germany for a couple of years where I became a principal for the first time at a K through 12 school. And then I returned to the United States as an elementary educator where I've been since 2010. With that, let me introduce to you Ms. Megan Corcoran. Megan, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yep, I am Megan Corcoran. I am the assistant principal and curriculum coordinator for Danville. I have been in Danville for 3 years.
Excellent. Next slide. You guys can read your names. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Okay. Hi, I'm Stephanie Misquita. I teach full day kindergarten here at Danville, and I've been here for a long time. We'll just leave it at that.
Hi, my name is Lori Newman, and I'm also a full day kindergarten teacher in Danville, and I've also been here a very long time.
Hi, I'm Jamie Newman. I'm the half-day kindergarten teacher here at Danville, and I have been teaching in the district for 13 years.
Hi, I'm Melissa Salemi. I'm the school counselor at Danville. I've been in the district for 13 years. This is my 7th year at Danville.
Hi, I'm Sharon Shigru. I'm the school nurse. This is my first year at Danville. And also my first kindergarten information session. So,
hi, I'm Vivian Rockwell. I'm the literacy specialist at Danville, and I have been in the Timberlane School District for 27, 28 years now, and love Danville.
Now, as we switch to the next slide, I just want to give you a preview of what we will be looking at tonight. We're going to be sharing with you important information about the documentation, particularly medical documentation that you're going to need, health and wellness, circumstances for your kids. We're going to be sharing with you information about transportation, registration, our school counseling, literacy, and we're going to share with you a picture of what a day in the life of a kindergarten student at Danville Elementary will look like. So with that, let me introduce to you again Sharon Shigru, our school nurse. She's going to share with you some health information.
hi everyone. So I want to just review the thoughts about the health office at Danville. We in the health office are in charge of individual students' health and wellness, so keeping track of physicals and immunizations and screening and sick visits and things like that, and also in charge of the health and wellness of the greater Danville school community. So, you know, that's why we talk about things like having people up to date on immunizations and cough and cold etiquette and things like that, because our goal is to keep everybody healthy and ready to learn and able to learn. So first, let's just talk about some details. So in order to register for kindergarten next year, we will need a physical that is dated after 9/1/2020. So something within this calendar year we'll need. It would be great if there's a vision and hearing screening on there that is usually done at the 5-year visit. That would be perfect. That would be great. The other things are immunizations need to be up to date. That's a New Hampshire Department of Public Health recommendation. And healthcare providers are very much aware of what needs to be done to be kindergarten ready. But if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out on that. Also, I should just bounce back for a second and say physicals. It would be great also if you, as you get a new physical each year, if you send that in with your student so that we can keep adding it to their chart, because we keep those charts from year to year and they'll move along through the district with them. Or if you move out of the district, it's nice to have all of those things in one place, because we do keep things both in a physical record and an electronic medical record. So, okay, let's see what else. Next thing are student allergies and health concerns. So one of the things that I understand we will do is have a kindergarten screening night where I get to meet with everyone and talk about your child and their any needs they might have at school. So it's important that I know about allergies, particularly food allergies or insect sting allergies, things like that. Any health concerns that we need to be aware of to help support your child in school, and any medications they take, both at home and at school. It's important for us to know if they, you know, if I need to give something during the day, it's helpful to know what else they also take. So I do need to give a little plug there on if your child is going to have medications that they're given in school or have medications that we keep in school on an as needed basis. There are some forms that we'll need to fill out. We'll need to meet and have these forms filled out. I need an order from a physician, even for over-the-counter stuff that we're going to, if it needs to be given on a regular basis, say for an injury, we'll need doctor's orders for those. But we can go over those specific details when we meet for kindergarten screening. Let me just check my notes here. Okay, the next is district protocol for staying home. Now, district protocol got a little bit more complicated this year with COVID. Fingers crossed next year it will be less complicated, but you will find the regular information on the district website, and I'll show you at the end how to find that. But there's a section in the frequently asked questions about when to keep your child home from school. And I think you probably already know it's fever, any fever greater than 100, without medication. They'll need to be home for 24 hours, vomiting, diarrhea, also home for 24 hours, strep throat, they can be returned after 24 hours on antibiotics. And then we worry about other communicable diseases like pink eye, staph infections, rashes, things like that, lice. So all of those, the protocol for all of those things is on the website, easy to read. I'll also give you a copy when we meet for kindergarten screening, but we'll show you how to find those so that you can always refer to them. So now let's talk about some specific things to help your child succeed, right? So if you're hungry, thirsty, cold, or uncomfortable, eating is going to be hard. Learning is going to be hard. So we want you to keep in mind things like kids should have a good breakfast. Breakfast is available at school for purchase. A good lunch, and in kindergarten, I believe there are 2 snacks every day. So, you know, it's important that they have something nutritious to have during the day to keep their energy up, because they are very busy during the day. The other thing we always ask is that they come to school with a water bottle, and staying hydrated is really important as well. We do have some filling stations. They're touch-free filling stations, so we don't have to worry about sharing germs at a water fountain or anything like that. They're literally just a filling station that you put your bottle under. So food, water. These little guys are going to be tired they're going to be really tired after a day. So the American Academy of Pediatrics really recommends that kids that are 5 years old, 10 to 13 hours a night. So keep that in mind when you're trying to plan for at the end of the summer, when you're trying to get your kids ready for back to school, that they're really going to need a good solid 10 to 13 hours a night. The other thing we recommend is that you send them in with a change of clothing. Things happen, things get spilled, people have accidents, they don't quite make it to the bathroom. So a little baggie in their backpack with a change of clothing, stick in there is a great way to not have that become a big deal. I also have tons of clothes in the office if that's necessary. Also, this seems like a good time to remind you that snow clothes and proper clothes for the weather are very important. Okay, last few things, just quickly, things that you might want to review with your kindergartner have before they come to school, are things like good hand washing, cough and cold etiquette of things like sneezing into your elbow, covering your cough either with a tissue or again with your elbow, washing your hands after you touch your nose or your face, so we can try and keep germs to a minimum. And then the last thing on the list is masks. It's a long day for kiddos with a mask on if they're not used to it. So if you could start working them up to that over the summer, I think that would be helpful. So wearing it properly over the nose and mouth. And, you know, if you teach it and we don't have to do it, excellent, even better. But it would be great for them to know. So all of this information, or much of this information, can be found if you go to the Danville website, and Mrs. Corcoran just put that up. Go to the Danville website, go to departments and nurses and health sciences. Everything I talked about can be found on the nurses website, or feel free to call and I can answer any questions that you have. Thank you. Sorry, that was a really quick blurb.
One thing that I forgot to mention at the beginning, and thank you, Sharon, was that there will be an opportunity for questions and answers at the end. And I know that one of the questions is likely to be about mask wearing. I would say the biggest surprise that I've had this year, and we came into the year with a lot of unknowns. One of the biggest surprises I've had is the level of success that every single one of our kids have had with masks. We anticipated, especially our little guys, but really all of our students having a difficult time transitioning to a 6-hour day or even a 3-hour day with their masks on. I can tell you with full honesty that we haven't had a single mask wearing issue, to the point where we've integrated multiple mask breaks throughout the day. But the majority of our students choose to leave their masks on so they can have an extra recess. So not only do our students not have as many challenges as we thought they would, when they have an opportunity to take them off, they often choose not to so they can play. So testament to our teachers in supporting our kids, testament to our families in getting them ready. And I think it seems like the vaccine won't be available to kids before the start of the next school year. So I wouldn't be surprised if mask wearing remains a part of our lives come the start of the upcoming 21-22 school year. So I think that's a really important thing to start getting your kids accustomed to wearing so that they can be successful from day one. With that, I'd like to bring back Alyssa Salemi, our school guidance counselor.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alyssa Salemi, the school counselor at Danville. So an important role of my job is to be an advocate for all students. Really the main goal of my school counselor position and the program at Danville is to support students with their social emotional growth, helping them in the academic setting, helping them best access their education. So to support them emotionally within the classroom is something that I do, as well as outside of the classroom. I do this through classroom visits, through classroom guidance lessons, collaboration with teachers, with special educators, with the school nurse, administration, parents, as well as short-term individual or small group counseling with our students within the building. I also can provide families with resources inside and outside of school. I work really closely with the other elementary schools in the district, being the only the elementary counselors. We're all the sole person in each one of the buildings. So we like to collaborate a lot with each other because all of our kids in all the 4 towns are all going to the middle school. They're all getting up there at the, around the same time. So we work together. So if there's ever something that you reach out to me for in regards to your child emotionally, social, I'm there to help and support you. I'm also there to help get the answers for you too if I don't have the answers. So you can call me anytime. I am there, especially on that first day of school when they're walking into the building. It can be a little anxious for some of them, but they all can handle it. They always do. But I'm there to help support them, support you on those first day jitters, as well as the teachers too, as they come in. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Alyssa. Now we'll have Vivian Rockwell talk about our reading programs.
Going to happen. Sorry, I was muted. So it's really important that we read to our students at home, or when they get a little bit older, they can read themselves. If at kindergarten a student reads 20 minutes a day at home, they're going to hear 1.8 million words a year. And they're going to read for 851 hours by 6th grade. And on standardized tests, they're going to likely score better than 90% of their peers. So this is like absolute data that we can share with you so that you understand how important it is. If you look at the chart right there, student A, that's the one that's reading the 20 minutes a day. That's 1.8 million words per year. And they're going to score in the 90th percentile on standardized tests for the most part. Student B reads 5 minutes a day. That's 900 minutes per school year. That's 282,000 words per year. And they are most likely to score in the 50th percentile. And then student C reads 1 minute a day. It must be the back of the cereal box. And they get 180 minutes per year, and that's 8,000 words per year. And they're going to score most likely in the 10th percentile on the standardized tests. So starting good habits now in kindergarten to read that 20 minutes a day. And even when they say, oh, can we skip it tonight? Which they all do. You can say, oh, no, let's go and read something, because it is that important for us as adults to remember. I would like to talk to you about Title I. It's a federally funded program, and I'm lucky enough to share my room with our Title I teacher. It's a supplemental core instruction, and it is really to promote academic achievement and to help students who might enter in a little bit lower down. We work close that gap and to get them up where everybody else is academically. So we provide resources to help the children be successful in school, and how we choose students is all based on the academic criteria that we, different ways to assess students that we do every year. And we usually do that about 3 times a year. So students enter and exit the program throughout the year. It's a very flexible program, and they get instruction usually in a group of 2 or 3 students. And we do start at kindergarten most years, and we just make sure that we close that gap so that they can be very, very successful. Thank you.
You know, one of the things that parents most often ask us is, how can we help our kids be more successful in school? When you look through the research, if you're one of those people who likes to look at research like many of us are, all of the research says the single most important thing you can do for your child's success is to read to them. The earlier you can read to them, the better. The more you can read to them, the better. I'll tell you that I have a 10-year-old and I have a 15-year-old, and my wife, who is a career English teacher and reading specialist, we have been reading to both of our children since before they were born, and we still read to each of them every night. My 15-year-old, she's a freshman in high school, and we still read to her every night. Listening to fluent adult readers is a powerful, powerful teaching tool that you can do at home. If you do nothing else at all, other than turning off the screen and opening a book and reading it to your kids will be infinitely more successful because of it. So, that's me standing on my soapbox a little bit. It's something that I believe deeply in my heart, but it's an honest answer. When asked the question, what can I do to help my kid be more successful? The answer is read to them, read to them, read to them. So let's pass it on to Jamie Newman, our half-day kindergarten teacher.
Hi there. I'm going to go over some of the helpful skills that you can practice from now and over the summer to get your child ready for kindergarten. The first thing is to help them perform self-care routines independently. So things like using the bathroom and washing their hands, blowing their nose, being able to eat independently, get their snacks open. Some fun things you can do over the summer is prepare their lunch and actually serve it to them in their lunchbox so that they can practice unzipping it, taking out their food, prioritizing, do we eat the cookie first, do we eat the sandwich first? That will really help them when they get down to the cafeteria and have limited time to eat their lunch. Number two, being able to hold a pencil or crayon comfortably. So getting that pencil in their hand and getting them to hold it down by the tip between their pointer finger and their thumb. And any type of coloring you can get them to do over the summer will be really helpful for strengthening all of their little handwriting muscles. Likewise, getting a pair of scissors into their hands and getting them comfortable with cutting. You can even draw some lines on a piece of paper and have them just practice cutting on those lines. A lot of them come in and they look at it like, what is this little tool here? So getting a pair of scissors in their hands is helpful. Zipping and buttoning their clothing is a big one in kindergarten. Being able to get their jackets on, zip up, unzip, take it off, putting their backpacks on, being able to unzip their backpacks, and practicing with their shoes, putting them on, whether they're slip-on or fastening Velcro. That would be really helpful for them to be able to do independently in the classroom. And lastly, it would be super helpful if your child could recognize their name when they get to kindergarten, because we have their names plastered all over the classroom. They use it for everything, to see what their class job is, to locate their desk. And I think all of us use their names for attendance in the morning. They have to come in, locate their name, and then, move it over on the side of the attendance chart to say present. So recognizing their name is super important. And I think there are a lot of things that you can do to get your child ready for kindergarten, but those are the top 5 that we think, if you came with those 5 skills, we would be really, really happy.
Thank you, Jamie.
You're welcome.
Now on to Ms. Corcoran.
Hi, everyone. So one thing we often hear from parents, one of their biggest worries is getting their kids to and from school. So whether you are choosing to have your students ride the bus or choosing to bring them by car, we know that that can be tricky. So when students ride the bus, their safety is obviously our first priority. And one thing we do to help with that is each student will have a backpack tag. And so on that backpack tag, it will have the student's name and the bus that they ride. This helps all of the staff members make sure that your student is getting on the correct bus. So that way we know they're going to the right location. It would be helpful for you to also talk to your child about riding the bus and what that looks like. Typically in the past, pre-COVID, we had a bus at our Meet the Teacher night. We hope to be able to bring that back this year, depending on COVID protocols. That way, if your student has never ridden the bus before, they can get on the bus, they can see what that looks like, they can practice sitting in a seat. So we are hopeful we'll be able to bring that back. Our pre-K and K students do sit in those front seats, so that way they are not super far back on the bus and they are close to the driver. Now, if you are traveling by car, make sure your child does know their first and last name and can respond to that, because you will get a visor if you are choosing to pick up and drop off your student that will stay right on your passenger side visor. And we call students as we see their name appear. You'll want to begin teaching your child how to independently buckle and unbuckle, because when you get them in the car, we put them in, we close the door, and then they should be buckling themselves. If they do need more practice and time with that, there's always room for you to pull up further in our pickup line. But the more they can practice that, the better. Adults are helping load all of your students into the car. We help keep that moving. And depending on weather, we do have the awning, so we are a little bit protected in the front of the building, but if it was ever super inclement weather, we would dismiss them from inside the building.
Now, I'm sure many of you have already gone through the registration process. If you have not yet done so, we have an online registration process that makes it easy for you to start getting your children ready to come to our school. You can see a picture of our webpage, and the registration button is very, very clear. Right there at the top right hand of our website, there's the new student registration button. So all you have to do is go to our website, click on that button, and start filling out paperwork. If you do have questions, we have two absolutely extraordinary front office secretaries who are able to answer all of your questions and are happy to take your phone calls. Their names are Ms. Barubi and Ms. Sweet. And when I say they are truly extraordinary, they are truly extraordinary, and they're able to answer all the questions that you might have. Now we are off to Ms. Lori Newman.
Hi, so for kindergarten, Timberlane offers two options. In Danville, we usually have for half day, one half day morning class. Half day kindergarten students arrive at 8:30 with the rest of the kids and they ride the bus in, but parents need to arrange for midday transportation. There is no busing home when they get out at 11:10. Half day kindergarten has the same academic curriculum as the full day program, so the morning focus is mainly on core instruction. Our full day program is tuition based and runs the full day 8:30 to 3:10, so students can ride the bus to and from school with the rest of the students. And if before and after school care is offered, they can also participate in that. In addition to their core instruction, full day students participate in lunch and recess and receive one unified art class per day. Unified art classes typically are gym, music, art, and technology. And the full day program allows for more in-depth study of the core curriculum since we're there all day and includes daily opportunities to practice skills. So usually at this point, we bring you down to our classrooms and we give a tour and you can ask questions and really kind of experience the kindergarten classroom. Since we can't do that this year, we're going to give you a little virtual sneak peek at what our day looks like. So Ms. Mosquita is going to kick that off.
Welcome, everybody. In this slide, you can see that upon arrival, we meet the students at the classroom door and greet them with a warm hello. And then they get an opportunity to work on developing independence with their morning routines. You can see somebody here putting their backpack into their cubby and another student passing in a work folder from home. All the classroom teachers at Danville participate in something called the morning meeting. We start each day with this. The goal of morning meeting is to build community. We practice looking at one another when we're greeting. We practice different greetings like hello, welcome to school with each other. Morning meeting always includes a greeting between friends and teachers, a message from the teacher, which might be telling them about events of the day. Lots of teachers also use that message to work on skills. They might leave off beginning sounds or a math skill that we're working on and encourage the kids to participate in that greeting with them. As well, every day. We have share time. The kids get to share lots about themselves. Teachers open up and share a little bit about themselves. And then we always end morning meeting with movement. We know that little ones need to move, and we incorporate that throughout our day. Word study is part of our curriculum here at Danville. It builds kids' phonemic awareness. And phonemic awareness is the ability to hear, identify, move, or change lengths, sounds in spoken words. Phonemic awareness skills provide critical foundations in kids learning how to read. During word study, we also work on phonics through the use of our Foundations program. And in these slides, you can see a little bit of pieces of those. Mrs. Newman's holding up a letter card, the student's coming up and finding a letter, and the last slide is a little boy who's building words with letter tiles. In the full day kindergarten program, we do incorporate a lot of social studies and science. In the half day program, it's a little bit more challenging to do that. Given the time restraints, we do try to put it into our half day, but it is difficult. Full day gets really immersed into science and social studies lessons. Kindergartners are naturally curious about the world around them, and we tap into this curiosity for our study of social studies and science. In social studies, we spend a lot of time learning about different types of communities. We start within our school and our classroom community, and then we gradually widen our scope to our school community, and lastly, their neighborhood community. In science, which my kids love, we explore topics such as pushes and pulls, weather, climate, and the needs of plants and animals. We have in the full day program 2 snacks, one in the morning and one in the afternoon to help us sustain our energy throughout the day. In the half day program, they have 1 snack a day. During snack, like Mrs. Newman said, we encourage students to work on their self-help skills, how to put that straw into the juice box top, how to unzip baggies, how to re-zip their lunch bags when they're done, opening containers. If you send in Tupperware containers, good to practice how to open those. It's also a really nice opportunity to socialize with each other and their teachers. We often walk around and find a little bit about their lives outside of school. Do they have pets? Do they like to participate in sports? It's really a nice social time for us. Young children need lots of hands-on Young children need lots of opportunities to explore math concepts using hands-on activities. They begin to develop critical thinking and reasoning skills through real life situations. Lots of times they'll build Lego towers, they'll count out their toys and see if they have enough to share with friends. And then they will learn how to check the weather and know how to dress that day. We just talked about that in my classroom today. All of these are really good problem solving skills that we use during our math times. Our goal is to provide hands-on methods to gain experiences with these skills at the concrete level and hopefully then move it on so they can apply it to other areas. This year, lunch is really different. You can see these students have gone down to the cafeteria, they've gotten their lunches. This year, they're returning to their classroom where our desks are spread 6 feet apart to eat their lunch. On a typical year, cross your fingers, students would be going down to the cafeteria. If they have a lunch from home, they bring their lunches from home. If they have to buy one, that there's one there to buy, and we sit at long tables and they get to interact back and forth. So I'm hoping we get back to that next year, but the kids this year don't know any different. They still think getting lunch is great. And we're down to maybe just a few milks dropping down the hallway as we get back. So they love lunchtime. And I'm going to pass this off to Mrs. Newman, who's going to share the rest of our day and what that afternoon looks like.
Thank you. I get to start with the most popular part of our day, which is recess. After lunch, we go out to get some fresh air and exercise, and the kids get to have fun playing with their friends. And the kindergarten best part has the whole playground to themselves. So they love exploring the equipment, playing in the field. It's just a great time for them to get their energy out and blow off a little steam before they come into work for the afternoon. In addition to word work, learning to read also includes listening to stories and poems and singing songs and engaging with literature. So kids get involved in independent reading, partner reading, small group reading. Literacy is really incorporated into the full day of kindergarten, but these are just a few examples. One of these students is working on illustrating a song, and another one is doing some independent reading. Every day in kindergarten, in full-time kindergarten students have a period of unified arts. In a typical year, we have art, music, phys ed, and technology every week. This year is a little bit different. We're trying to keep exposures down due to COVID, so we're having each unified art every day for 2 weeks. So these are a few that we don't typically have in our full day, but Mrs. Wood is teaching enrichment on the left there, and then Mrs. Kissel is doing a library lesson that somehow involved paper airplanes. In kindergarten, talking and drawing provide children with a natural pathway to writing. During our writing lessons, we work on building oral language, so we do a lot of storytelling and vocabulary, and then we work on sketching to develop our observational skills. We use these skills to become the building blocks for conveying ideas in writing through rich language and sequence and using details. In full day, we have time to work on social skills a little bit more than half day, and we tend to wrap up our day with a little bit of choice time, even if it's just 5 minutes, we fit it in. It fosters creativity and allows the kids to make independent choices based on their own interests. We love walking around during choice time and listening to the excited play that happens. Today, one of my kids built a marble run, and everyone was being careful to try to keep their 6 feet while they could see the marble run in action, which was kind of exciting. But it's the best day to end our day with a little bit of fun and a little bit of conversation, and typically a little bit of closeness. At dismissal, everyone is responsible for packing up their own belongings. This is another time with those independent skills that Mrs. Newman talked about, zipping, unzipping the backpack, packing the folder. The kids get themselves all packed up for home on their own, and then they listen for their buses or they watch the screen. That middle picture are names popping up on the screen if you're a car rider, and they wait for their name to magically appear. And then off they go with little adult guidance. Kindergartners at this point in the year are totally independent, and they head out to their buses and cars. And that's our day.
So we have shared with you a great deal of information, from setting your children up for success, making sure registration happens effectively, what the school day looks like, and a variety of other things. Now is your chance to ask any questions that you may have. What will happen is I will, if you could, click on the participants area or raise your hand on your end. I will see that your hand is raised. Then we will be able, I'll call on you and you'll be able to ask your question. And trust me, if you have the question, I'm sure others have the question as well. So there's no bad questions at this point. Who is going to be the first person to show the courage? So there is a person in here with the username 16035. Dean, if you wouldn't mind, there we are. If you want to unmute yourself. (16035). I believe you have yourself muted. There you are.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now. First, can you introduce yourself just so we can put a name to your number?
Yep, I'm Alyssa. I'm Madison's mom.
Thanks for stepping up and asking the question. What can we answer for you?
So for Danville Elementary, I'm currently a Sandown resident, but I've lived in Danville all my life. And she goes to school at Primetime Daycare in Danville for pre-K. And I'm just wondering, you know, the transportation for, Danville? Is it half days? Is it entirely full days? And if it's full days, how many days a week is it?
So first, let me ask some, so you're a resident of Sandown and your child
Yeah.
currently goes to a daycare program in Danville. So
Correct. Yep.
one of the things that we'll probably want to do in the coming days is connect with you offline, because as a Sandown resident, Sandown North
Yep.
is your home school and likely
Yep.
the school of choice for your child. But go ahead, Megan, you would know this better than me, having been here for a couple
Yeah,
of years.
just a point of clarification. If you live in Sandown, your home school for kindergarten would not be Sandown North. It would be the TLC program.
TLC,
Yep, at Sandown Central.
that's right.
So just a point of clarification.
Yep.
Are you asking about transportation or about how many days a week our kindergarten program is?
So I kind of want to know everything because my daughter right now goes to primetime daycare in Danville.
Mhm.
That's her pre-K program right now. It's convenient for her to go there, even though, my parents live in Danville. I used to live there. Then me, and my significant other moved to Sandown.
Yep.
And we're trying to determine between both districts, I guess you could say. And I don't know what's best for her because she has a lot of friends in her Danville pre-K class, but her Danville pre-K instructor told me about to go to the Danville, site and contact the SAU for her to enroll in the Danville Elementary School. So
because of after school.
Yeah, so that will be something. I'm happy to talk further about it with you, but typically the way the district works is you would enroll your child in whatever hometown program that they live in. So typically where you live in Sandown, you'd have to enroll her in Sandown. However, you could talk to the SAU about potentially joining another program, but that would be based on spacing needs.
Okay,
And
because that's where she's gone all her whole entire life is Danville. That's where we live. So it's kind of, she has friends and I just want to get the differentiation of both districts. So
sure.
So
So let me answer one little piece for you, because it's important to note that the Timberlane Regional School District has a common approach to its kindergarten programming. So each school has a full day kindergarten program that is tuition based. The full tuition for the 2020-21 school year was $4,500 for the full year before there was a reduction due to COVID related dynamics. There's also a half day program, and each program is 5 days per week. And the residents of the towns are entitled to transportation via the bus to their town-based programmatic school. But the general nature of instruction for students, whether you're in Plastow, Atkinson, Danville, or Sandown, the core programming and instruction will look very similar in each school. The difference would be the teachers that you have. And we do have extraordinary teachers here in Danville. So, So, are there other folks with questions?
Yes, there's two in the chat. So someone had asked about the Title I program for incoming K students being held this summer. So our transition camp. That is something we did not get to do this last summer, but we had done the few before. At this point, we do intend to have the program. We're hoping to have more information about that after or at kindergarten screening. It may look a little bit different based off of COVID protocols, but at this time, it is something we do still intend to have. And the other one was a question about if a student was on an IEP, how do we know if they get full day or half day? That is a determination that needs to be made as an IEP team. So if you do have a student who is a special education student, that full day program versus half day program is determined at an IEP meeting. And then there's
So
another
the
one.
next question is, how much is a full day? Full day is for this past school year was listed as $4,500 for the full day. That was amended shortly before the start of the school year due to the nature of COVID-related protocols. The COVID-related protocols resulted in a hybrid structure or a fully remote structure, depending on the family's decision. So as such, the district chose to reduce the tuition by half. Assuming that we are going back to a somewhat close to normal learning environment where we are in person 5 days a week next year, we can anticipate that that tuition will return back to its full level. Are there any other questions? Anybody with the courage to put their hand up and speak? So a couple of final details. Oh, Angela Orban, come on in. You're gonna have to go ahead and unmute.
Hi. I'm Chloe's grandma. She's in the pre-K program with you guys now. So just a curious question: if we anticipating that the next school year will be much more normal than we've seen in the last year, would you anticipate if the district will return to having some traditional snow days or blizzard bag days, or do you anticipate that they will continue any snow day just being a remote work day?
I think, and Megan, you can follow up my answer with insights that you may have collected. I don't know that the district has proceeded to that discussion at this time. One of the convenient components of this year is that we already have the remote structures in place to make for an easier transition to a remote day when it is a snowstorm and we're not able to attend school. My anticipation is that that decision is unlikely to be fully established until next October or next November.
Sure,
when
makes
we're
sense.
leading into the coming winter season and structures need to be put into place. So for example, a blizzard bag, which is the former structure of a snow day, needs to be submitted and approved prior to the start of the school year. So, but it doesn't have to be submitted and approved by March of this year for next year. So there's a lot of information that's not clear yet. There's a lot of information, a lot of decisions that haven't been made for next year because we need to make sure that the right decisions are made for next week and the week
Oh, you
after.
mean your crystal ball's not working today?
Not today. Megan, do you have anything else that you might be able to contribute?
Nope, at this point, there hasn't been decisions made on that. That I think is a while down the road, unfortunately.
Is there anyone else out there who has other questions for us? So this video will be available online. If you wouldn't mind, if there are neighbors in your neighborhood or friends that you have that do live here in town who haven't yet registered but have children who are of an appropriate age to enter school, if you wouldn't mind pointing them to that website so that they can start the registration process. Let them know that we have extraordinary people happy to answer their questions if they have them. You can let them know that a recording of this Zoom webinar will be on our website so that they can learn more about what we offer to our kindergarten students entering school. And with that, go ahead, Megan.
Sorry, there's one more question that just popped up in the chat.
Oh, great.
About health forms and birth certificates. So those will need to be brought to the front office because we actually do need to see the original birth certificate with raised seal. So those will need to be brought in. We obviously just make a copy and then return it to you. So those do need to be brought directly in.
And there's two more things that I'd just like to add. We haven't talked very much about our kindergarten screening process, and we've done that intentionally because it's not yet fully developed. But what you can anticipate is that it will take place sometime in May. It's a process where your kids take some time with one of our kindergarten professionals where they get a sense of what skills they have. During their visit, there's an opportunity to ask questions, fill out paperwork, and connect with our office staff to make sure all of the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted. There is an opportunity to connect with and talk with Ms. Shagru to share any important medical concerns or questions that you might have. And Megan and I also like to take a chance to sit down and start getting to know you as a new family to our school. So it is a busy day. It's not a very long experience, but it is one that is super important so that it's really our first true and genuine chance to start to get to know your child as a student at our school and you as a family in our community. And then the last thing is now is really the best time to start those great routines, minimize the amount of screen time, getting a really good night of sleep. Some of the kids who struggle most are the kids who don't get good sleep at night. They come into school and they're tired. And again, read to your children. Every single night, snuggle in that bed with an open book and just read to them. And your kids will have a great experience. Of our Danville team, does anybody else have any parting words of wisdom that you'd like to share? No? Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. And we look forward to meeting you in the next couple of months as we approach our kindergarten screenings. Have a good night, all.